What's up, guys? It's KhUnlimited. Welcome to another episode of Shotlocked. This is episode 7. Now, a few things I want to mention before I actually start the actual episode. There is going to be a change happening to the to Shotlocked. Usually, I have 3 segments, which is the postings where I talk about news, reflecting report, which is where I talk about some current part of Kingdom Hearts, and Dream Dive, where I talk about some future aspect I want in Kingdom Hearts. Now, if you've watched my episodes before, you know that I pre-record these episodes because I'm really busy with school, and usually recording, just right before I upload it is impossible. And because of that, I am removing the postings from Shotlock. The postings was my news segment, and pre-recording like a month or a month and a half ahead for news just didn't make sense, because when I did upload it, it would just be so outdated. Like, I think one of my news episodes talked about Big Hero 6 impressions, and by now, I'm not sure if a lot of people really care and if it's even relevant. So I'm going to be removing postings, and I may still do postings if there's some kind of news story that I really care about and I really want to talk about, and I may just upload it as a regular video. But other than that, the posting isn't going to be part of Shotlocked anymore. But Shotlocked still is going to have 3 segments. So what's replacing postings is a new segment I call Kingdom Countdown, and what Kingdom Countdown is basically going to be is a segment where I do some kind of top 10 or top 5 or top whatever of anything related to Kingdom Hearts. And I thought this was a natural fit because if you haven't noticed, Shotlocked is pretty much a templated form of the videos I already have on my channel. I already do videos about things that exist in Kingdom Hearts. I already do videos about things I want in Kingdom Hearts. And when I had the postings, I did news videos. But another type of videos I did were top 10 videos or top 5 videos. So I thought that would be a natural fit. And I think it could be really fun in a podcast format, because usually when I try to do top 5 or top 10 videos on my channel, I was really worried about the time. I'd be like, okay, I need to fit it in 10 minutes or I have to fit it in 8 minutes so people don't get bored. But since it's a podcast, I'll probably just talk about and give all the details I want and let it go on and on how much I want to, because it is a podcast. That's kind of the benefit of doing that. So yeah, it is called Kingdom Countdown. It is replacing posting. So the first segment is Kingdom Countdown, then Reflecting Report, then Dream Dive, and you'll see that reflected in my schedule too. So Monday is going to be the entire episode uploaded, Tuesday is going to be Kingdom Countdown, Wednesday is going to be Reflecting Report, and Thursday is going to be Dream Dive, and it's still every 2 weeks. I'm actually recording this episode very late. Usually I pre-record episodes, and I'm actually recording this episode on the Saturday when I'm supposed to be uploading it on Monday. So I'm cutting it really thin. I was just really busy with school and midterms and all that. But yeah, let's just get right into it with Kingdom Countdown. Alright, welcome to Kingdom Countdown, my Kingdom Hearts countdown or top list series. Now I'm going to start it off with something that makes sense, my top Kingdom Hearts games, and I've done a list of this already on my channel before, and I was actually going to check the video just to see what my list was, but I kind of refrained from doing that because I didn't want it to kind of impact what my opinion is now. And something that was true then, I believe, and which is true now, my list I feel is the most controversial list. I'm pretty sure no one really has this list, because I don't rate my list the way most people do. Most people kind of rate the list based on how you review a game, based on if the story is good, if the characters are good, if it's fun, if it's gameplay, this etc. They have a proper scale which they rate it at. I don't care about that. The reason I play games is for fun, and I purely rate it based on fun and experience. If I had a good experience while playing the game, that will put it higher on my list, even if it's a bad game to most. If I had fun with it, if my experience was positive, if I remembered it in a positive light, that's how I kind of put my list together. A lot of people may not agree with that, but that's just how I like doing it, because that is that just makes sense. It's more fun for me, and that's how I'm going to rate it. So yeah, this list may be very backwards for some of you, but let's just get right into it. Number 7 is, actually before I start, I'm also not going to be having Kingdom Hearts 0.2 in this list, or Unchained Key. I feel like those two are kind of outliers. Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key isn't really a game which you can compare with the rest of the games. It's kind of orange and apples comparison, because it is an ongoing title and it is very different from any of them. And since it's not done, you can't really compare it. So I love the game. I play it in bursts, but that's not going to be in the list. And Kingdom Hearts 0.2, kind of for the same reasons. I don't feel like it's fair to compare this game with the rest of them. 0.2 is kind of its own thing. It's a very small snippet. It was almost just a demo for how Kingdom Hearts 3 would play. It was fun. I actually recently played it. I got Kingdom Hearts 2.8 maybe a couple of months ago, and that was the first time I played it. And yeah, I liked it. It was very rough in a lot of ways. The combat was really beautiful, but again, rough, kind of felt restricting in some ways. Yeah, but I won't be putting it in the list. So there's gonna be 7 Kingdom Hearts games, and I'm gonna list them. So starting with number 7, if you know me, number 7 for me is Kingdom Hearts 1. This is the only, excuse me, This is the only Kingdom Hearts game which I personally have not completed. Actually, I've tried to complete it. I played it 3 to 4 times. Each time I just stopped somewhere because it's just very boring to me. And the reason I don't complete it is because not only is it boring to me, and not only like does the combat and all that feel kind of bad compared to other games, obviously because it's the first game, but also because this isn't the first Kingdom Hearts game I played. I came into the series with Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was a kid, so going back to Kingdom Hearts 1 was just very hard for me and just wasn't something that was going to work for me. And so again, like I said, based on my experiences, it just wasn't fun. I just couldn't force myself to keep playing. That doesn't mean I don't really know it. I have watched like Let's Plays of it. I believe it's Skyward Wings Let's Play, which I watched the whole thing on, but it does mean that I do know it at least. Like if you asked me to like re-say the story, like I probably couldn't say it that well. I just didn't like the story at all. Like I know a lot of people love like the whole plot of the Disney villains. I think they had some kind of group and they were trying to do some plan or some shit, but those are the main villains of the game. I just didn't like that at all. I thought that was kind of stupid. Not stupid, but like when I play Kingdom Hearts games, I care about the actual Kingdom Hearts main characters, the Kingdom Hearts original characters. So like in Kingdom Hearts 2, when I'm playing and I'm in the Disney world, I love the story and all that, but then like I'm always like, when am I gonna get to the main story though? When is the Organization 13 gonna come back in? When is, you know, like the main story gonna come back in? Whenever there's like Disney cutscenes, I'm like, yeah, it's cool, that's part of the game. But whenever the actual main story kicked in, that's when it was like, yes, finally the game is actually kicking in. So when Kingdom Hearts 1, when I played Kingdom Hearts 1 after Kingdom Hearts 2, and I saw that it was mostly just like, you know, Disney centric stuff, and they were trying to make a plot out of that, it just really wasn't catching my attention, and it wasn't something that I really, you know, care to play, and it just wasn't doing it for me. So that's why Kingdom Hearts 1 is at number 7. Yeah, sorry if that offends you, but actually, put your list down below. I think that's something cool with Kingdom Countdown. It's a lot more involved. Each of you probably have some kind of list, and even if you don't, you could just say you most hated Kingdom Hearts game and you most loved. And Kingdom Hearts 1 is probably the only one that I kind of, not hate, that's a strong word, but dislike. I just don't like it in terms of gameplay or story or anything like that. But it might be because I started with my, you know, one of my favorite games. So number 6, again, this is gonna be a downer for a lot of you, but it is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I know this is a number 1 for a lot of people, and in this case, it's not like Kingdom Hearts 1 where I dislike it. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, I do like it. Everything from here on I like. It's just that I like the least from the rest. And shit, oh my god. So the reason it's number 6 is because, again, based on my experience, I remember getting it on the PSP, you know, going to EB Games, that's the Canadian GameStop, and yeah, going to EB Games, picking it up and playing it, and it was just not what I expected. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might have been the first game I played after Kingdom Hearts 2, because I played Kingdom Hearts 2 as a kid, and there's like a long gap, and then I'm like, oh, they're making another Kingdom Hearts game, and I know there's Rechain of Memories around there and before, whatever. Birth by Sleep was the next one that I played, and when I played it, it just wasn't as much as I expected. I was just imagining like a huge grand adventure, how I remembered Kingdom Hearts 2, and in Birth by Sleep, the stories were a lot shorter. I still to this day believe that they shouldn't have split it between three characters, the story, or if they did want to do it, it should have been one continuous story, as in like, you play a third of the story with Ven, second third with Aqua, and like say the last third with Terra. That's what I would do, and therefore they would be able to make the story 3 times as long, because the way they did in Birth by Sleep, of course, is that you play the entire story with Ben, and the entire thing with Aqua, and the entire thing with Terra. But since you need, you know, the physical space or the memory to have all 3 stories, you have to obviously shorten it because you're playing 3 characters, but it's the same story technically, and that's something that I really didn't like. I'm not the type of guy who enjoys that. I'm not the type of guy who likes replaying a game either. But that doesn't really work for Kingdom Hearts 2. I love replaying that. But in games in general, when people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go back for New Game Plus and all that," and I'm like, nah, I'm done with the game. I don't really have to go back. If there's small differences, that isn't enough for me to play the entire game again. And the same thing with Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. I played it many times at this point. I played it maybe like 2-3 times. And I liked the game, like I said, but it wasn't something that I liked the most. The experience of me, I don't remember any like pure positives from the game. It was a really fun game. I loved it. I do love the game, but like compared to the others, I didn't like it as much. The story again was also like a somber, sad one, and that's not really a negative thing. But to me, just remember Kingdom Hearts 2 being all happy, poppy, things like that. Birth of Sleep was definitely more of a lower tone, a more sad story. So just for that experience, I put it as number 6. Number 5, number 5 to 3 was kind of difficult because they're games that I played a long time ago, so like they could kind of shift around. But number 5 is Dream Drop Distance. Now I'm currently in the process of playing it again. on Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Like I said, I started playing 2.8 a while ago because I just got it a couple of months ago. Well, I stopped playing right now because school and all that. And Dream Out Distance is a lot more fun than I remember. I mean, I remember it being really fun. Again, the experience was really good, and I'm playing it again. It is really fun. I really like it so far. The worlds are very short from what I remember, and it's a fun experience. I really like the gameplay. The main thing I really love is the aesthetic. I feel like it's one of the more colorful games. I don't know what it is. It might be just the worlds. It might just be like there is more color, or because like Dream Out Distance is like one of the first games where like there's actually like a bright color scheme where they use that kind of like hot pink and like for the logo. So it might be that, but like I really like the aesthetic of Dream Out Distance, and yeah, like in terms of gameplay and all that, the flow motion I really love. It does feel a bit OP at times because when I'm playing, I just default to flow motion. If there's like a lot of bad guys, I just flow motion to the wall, drill them, or flow motion jump and just like smack down, and that's what I default to doing. But yeah, Dream Out Distance, I don't really have much to say because it's been such a long time since I played it, and the reason I'm even replaying it so I can review the story. I really don't remember anything from the end. I remember some time travel business with young Zaner, but I don't remember what exactly happened, and I really do want to finish playing it before Kingdom Hearts 3, so I'm probably going to play it over my winter or Christmas break. But yeah, that's number 5. I don't have too much to say on that. God, my throat's dying. I'm sorry. I got to drink water. This is empty. Nice. All right. Number 4 is Rechain of Memories. Again, like I said, this could kind of switch with Dream Out Distance. It wouldn't be that much of a difference. Experience is pretty much like Dream Out Distance. I really enjoyed it. I played it a lot later than like Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 2. Because I took on my PS2 again, and I burned the disc. That's how I played it. Because if you didn't know, when I was growing up, all the games I bought, at least for the PS2, they were all burnt. And I didn't know this. My dad just used to take me to a flea market. He's like, pick a lot of how many games you want. I'm like, really? So like, there's just a list of games. He used to pick like 4 or 5, and he used to give me them because they're $5 each. Because the guy there just used to burn them and give it to us. And later I found out they were burned. But at that point, I'm just like, I found out how to burn CDs on my own. So I just did that for our PS2 games. And so I burned Rechain of Memories and played that. And I really liked it actually. A lot of people didn't like the card system. I love the card system. I thought it was really polished. It was really well done. It was really interactive. I think I played it again recently for a bit, but I put it down again because I started playing Dream Out Distance. But I really like the game. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. And there's just like, again, like the experience I thought was really positive. The card system was good. The story I think is good too. I think, yeah, I'm trying to recall it. Yeah, I remember enjoying the story. The only downer for me was that it was really connected to Kingdom Hearts 1 in terms of like the same worlds of Kingdom Hearts 1, and so you had kind of the similar story of Kingdom Hearts 1 where they were trying to play through those stories / worlds again, and since I don't like Kingdom Hearts 1, I didn't like that aspect of it. But something I really liked about Rechain of Memories is that you got to play as Riku, and Riku's story and gameplay was so refreshing after Sora's, because I remember Sora's being so, you have to do so much card management, you have to have so much strategy with which cards you put in what order and so on. But then when you got to Riku, I forgot exactly what it was, but I remember it's like they removed some kind of restriction for him where his combat was much more free flow, and they added a different mechanic, and I remember enjoying that a lot more. And I don't think I beat this game either. I think I still count me beating this game because I was on the final boss of Riku's story, but then I never ended up finishing it because something just came in the way. But then I pretty much experienced the whole story, and I think I just watched the last cutscene online. So yeah, Reaching Memories, I really enjoyed the experience and I really liked it a lot more than like Birth by Sleep in my opinion. So like, yeah, that is number 4. Number 3, blasphemy. I know, it's Recoded. Now Recoded, I just remember having such an amazing experience with it. I was in high school, probably grade 10, 11, somewhere around there. And I think I mentioned in another Shotlocked episode, I used to take my DS to school because me and my friends played Mario Kart. And sometimes when our spares didn't line up, spare is kind of like a period where it was like you don't have any class. That's what a spare is in high school. I don't know if that's what they call it in America, but in Canada they do. And during spare, if I didn't line up with my friends in a semester, I would just play my own games. And I was playing Kingdom Hearts Recoded, and the story, it was just so different from what it was, and everything about Recoded I loved. I love like the cyber approach. I really like the mini games, and I remember being so immersed into the final boss. The final boss, I think, was some kind of anti-Sora, and I remember he was so freaking crazy, the boss. He was like speeding around and you had to freaking block his attacks and fight him. It could have just been my memory kind of like heightening it up, the experience. But I remember enjoying it a lot. I loved Recoded. The story I thought was interesting. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. This actually has a real story. I actually enjoyed the story a lot more than like Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm like, damn. And I thought the combat honestly seemed just like Kingdom Hearts 1's from what I remember, but like it had like the added mini games which I really enjoyed, and honestly it's just I remember having such a fun experience. I vividly remember the time me finishing the game, just laying down on my bed, fighting the final boss, freaking sweating and beating in. I remember beating it on my first try and I was just so relieved. I'm like, thank God I got that done and over with. But yeah, I remember Recoded being a really fun experience, and that's why it's at number 3. Number 2, 358 over 2 days. I'm not going to go too deep into the reasons why I like 358 over 2 days because I think I mentioned it in a previous Shotlocked episode. And it's because not only did I like the story, not only did I like the change of pace where you're following the Organization 13, the settings were completely different, the type of gameplay were different, we had some stealth missions and all that. The bosses, I think, were a real weak point in some cases. I remember one of the bosses being that treasure flying bird thing and you had to chase. I remember that being really annoying. But the reason this is so high on my list is because of the multiplayer feature. This is the only Kingdom Hearts game which had an online multiplayer, which I really genuinely enjoyed the most. Birth by Sleep is a close second in terms of multiplayer. But 358 over 2 days, the fact that you could have 4 people, and the fact that you could go through missions, the fact that you had a huge selection of characters, every Organization 13 character, Riku, Sora, Shion, Roxas, Axel, everyone, it was an amazing experience. Those are some of my favorite moments of high school, just being with my friends or playing with my brother at home and going through missions, us just as Organization 13 characters and just going through missions, trying to, beat as fast as we can. And I just really, love those memories, so I feel like that's why it's so high on my list. Again, very experience based, so that's why I really liked it. And number 1, no surprise if you know me, Kingdom Hearts 2. First Kingdom Hearts game I ever played. One of the first games I've ever played in my life, actually. Actually, no, that's not true. No, that's not true at all. It's one of the first games I remember loving a lot. Before that, I think I played Sega Genesis a lot, like the Power Ranger game or something. But then the actual, first full game, and when I played, I'm like, oh shit, games are really cool. Was Kingdom Hearts 2, and I don't know, I just don't know how to explain why I love it. It's my favorite game of all time right now. I'm hoping Kingdom Hearts 3 dethrones that, but I'm not sure. To me, it just felt like a grand adventure. I remember just me being a kid, and I was past my curfew. I kept playing. I remember I was in Aladdin's world, and my mom telling me to sleep, and I'm like, no, I can't save right now. I gotta beat this boss. And it was just an amazing experience. It was a grand adventure. The story I thought was amazing. Gameplay is one of the best I've seen. Visuals, and I've talked about this in a previous Shotlocked episode where I talk about the lighting effects and all that of the Keyblades. I feel like it's still the best I've ever seen in a game. Everything about it I just love, and it could just be me just being a huge fan of it and being such a big part of my childhood, but it is my favorite game. I don't really dislike anything about it. There are some worlds I don't like Pirates of the Caribbean, but then that's just such a minor thing to me, where the entire full experience is just so huge. The final boss with Zemnis, being able to use Riku for that whole final boss, the final cutscenes, all the extras they have with the data battles, the lingering will battle, just everything about this game is such a beautiful package where I feel like it has to be number 1 for me, and that's why it is number 1. So yeah, that is my top 7 list for the Kingdom Hearts games. Number 7 is Kingdom Hearts 1. Number 6 is Birth by Sleep. 5 is Dream of Distance. 4 is Reaching the Memories. 3 is Recoded. 2 is 358 over 2 days. And 1 is Kingdom Hearts 2. Take it to the bank. That's my list. Let me know your list down below. And yeah, I'm pretty interested to know what list you guys have, because it depends, because a lot of people say the list and a lot of people say the list and they pretty much expect it'd be like number 7 is Recoded and 350 over 2 days, blah blah blah, and when you get to the top it's like Birth by Sleep number 2 and Kingdom Hearts 2 is number 1, or just switched, or some people have Kingdom Hearts 1 as number 1, and that's something that I expect. So I'm kind of proud to have a list which turns every other list on its head, and yeah, that's the list I'm proud to have. Alright, sorry for the video watchers if there was some noticeable cut. The last scene I recorded was actually a couple of hours ago. I had to come back to record the rest. I had some things to do, and if you're an audio listener, you probably didn't notice. But I am back. Last time, I believe I was talking about my top list for Kingdom Countdown. I think I finished it. I said my entire list of my Kingdom Hearts games, and so now you kind of know what Kingdom Countdown is. This is what's going to be happening every episode. I'm going to be doing a new type of list, that is related to Kingdom Hearts, obviously. So maybe top nobodies, top Heartless, top clothes in Kingdom Hearts, whatever the hell I want to do, and I'll just be doing this. And as you can tell, it's going to be pretty long. The one that I just did was maybe kind of rushed. I didn't really give all the details I wanted, because I do have to do other things today. I can't really spend that much time recording today. But you can kind of see that the episodes will be more longer than usual because I am cutting postings out, and postings wasn't really that long of a segment. But without further ado, let's get to reflecting report. Alright, welcome to Reflecting Report. This is the segment where I talk about some current aspect of Kingdom Hearts and just talk about it, what I like about it, what I don't, and how it could be improved in the future. Now, the Reflecting Report topic for today are minigames in Kingdom Hearts. Now, minigames are something that, some people like in Kingdom Hearts, some people don't, and I just wanted to talk about it. I have a list of the minigames that I at least liked. These aren't all the minigames in the Kingdom Hearts games. I'm sure there are some that I'm missing, like in the older games, like maybe Recoded. I mentioned Recoded, but these are the minigames at least that I remember off the top of my head. First of all, you got the minigames of Birth by Sleep. The ones that I remember the best was the racing one, the crossbars, and like the Mirage Arena in general. And there was like a fruit ball volleyball type thing I remember too. That was in Birth by Sleep. In Read Out Distance, there was Flick Rush. In Kingdom Hearts 2, there were the Winnie the Pooh minigames. In Recoded, there were the minigames, throughout the entire story. Like a lot of different minigames that you got to play with Sora. And the Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key and Kingdom Hearts 3 ones, Classic Kingdom, and I'm going to be talking about that too. So from these minigames, let me just kind of like lay them out and what I think about each of them. First of all, the Birth by Sleep minigames, I loved some of them. The racing one, I really liked. It's kind of cool having like kind of a kart racing type game in Kingdom Hearts. I can't remember how it controlled exactly, but I remember it was pretty fun. It wasn't like my favorite minigame. I played it, here and there, but it wasn't something that I played all the time, but it was something cool to actually have in Kingdom Hearts. And this actually kind of relates to episode 6 or 5 of Shotlocked. I talked about spin-off titles I wanted Kingdom Hearts, and I could 100% see them making like a Kingdom Hearts kart racer, Kingdom Hearts karts, Kingdom Karts, Kingdom Karts racer, where it's just like, they have like a bunch of characters in Kingdom Hearts now. They have a shit ton of Kingdom Hearts characters, they have organization characters, they could put Final Fantasy characters, if they could put Disney characters too, make a huge Kingdoms Karts racer, and that'd be amazing. That could be an amazing spin-off title. But yeah, so having a Birth by Sleep, I liked. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't something that I always played, but I liked that it was there, and I liked that Birth by Sleep actually had a ton of mini games. I forgot the world it was in. Like, I remember how Lux Safer was called. It was where Minnie is, and where you'd play the ice cream mini game. That was another one. You have to do the ice cream on. That one, it was more or less, that was okay for me. That was more of a kind of rhythm type game, and I'm not the biggest fan of those, because like I just kind of get bored fast from them. But we had that too. We had Crosswords. Crosswords is probably my favorite mini game from Birth by Sleep. A lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked it. It's kind of a Mario Party style minigame, and I thought it was really fun. I could always just keep playing again and again. I thought it was pretty fresh and fun each time, and that's one that I enjoyed the most because it was pretty much an entirely new game in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. It was pretty robust and polished from what I remember. So Crossboards is something that I really liked in Birth by Sleep. And the volleyball one, I actually really enjoyed that one too. Again, it was something that I came back to time, but I remember that being pretty fun to do. And during Out Distance, you have Flick Rush. Again, I don't think this is the most popular amongst fans, but I really like Flick Rush. At least when I played During Out Distance on my 3DS or my brother's 3DS for the first time I played it. I remember it being really fun. I really liked it. I played through it. I don't think I ever came back to it when I finished the game. I remember like at one point of the game, I just kept playing the Flick Rush. It was just really fun. I thought it was made really well, and it's something I feel like could return in Kingdom Hearts 3 since there are Dream Eaters from what we've seen from the trailers. So I feel like something like that could come back. I don't know, but again, Flick Rush I feel like was really well made. And now that I think about Kingdom Hearts mini games in general are actually really well made. Like, they're not some bullshit, shitty mini game, at least for the most part, that they just stuff into the game. Like, these are actual proper mini games that they had. So, like, Flick Rush is another really good one on the 3DS. I haven't played Flick Rush on the Kingdom Hearts 2.8 on the PS4. I'm not sure how that would work since you have to flick unless you use the PS4's touchpad. But, yeah, I like Flick Rush. Kingdom Hearts 2, even though that's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game, I feel like it had the weakest showing of minigames. The only ones I can remember are the ones from Winnie the Pooh, and all of them were like pretty okay to me. It's nothing like, I did it because you had to in the story, but it's nothing that I would ever want to go back to. You had the one where you're kind of going down a hill, I think with Winnie the Pooh, and every time he falls off, I think you had to catch him. You had another one where you're in the air and you had to catch Winnie the Pooh. You had one where you're jumping on balloons. So they had a lot of mini games in the Winnie the Pooh world, but none of them were like anything substantial where I'm like, oh, I have to play this again, it's so fun. So I feel like Kingdom Hearts 2 probably had the weakest showing in terms of the mini games for Kingdom Hearts. Recoded, like I mentioned in my Kingdom Countdown segment, I love the Recoded mini games. I feel like each of them were pretty fresh and they were pretty fun. I never really got bored of it. Every time it came, I was actually kind of excited for it because while some people don't like when there's like a random break in the game, in Recoded I feel like I just kind of wanted to take a break from the main gameplay and go into the mini games, and I feel like it did add a nice amount of challenge, and it was something that I really enjoyed. So I feel like the Recoded mini games were implemented really nicely, and I can't remember what type of mini games they had. I remember there was like 2 or 3 different types, maybe even more. The only one I remember vividly is like a side-scrolling one where Sora had to go, and it was kind of a platformer, side-scroller, endless runner type thing, and that's the one that I remember the most, and I remember having a lot of fun with that one. But yeah, I feel like the mini games in Recoded were really fun, and the mini games in Recoded are one of the reasons why it's so high in my list, as you heard from Kingdom Countdown. And lastly, Unchained King, Kingdom Hearts 3 Classic Kingdom. Now this is kind of gonna be the main focus, because the mini games I've explained what they were in the past and what they can be in Kingdom Hearts 3, and we already have a taste, which is Classic Kingdom. I really like how they're implementing it so substantially in the world, where it is actually kind of like a mobile device. Not a mobile device, that's something else. It's going to be like a gaming device, like a PSP type thing, with Sora's going to have, and he's going to be able to play these classic Kingdom mini games. And I'm pretty familiar with all of them now, because if you didn't know, they implemented all of them in Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, and if you got to a certain score in all of them, you get the Starlight in Kingdom Hearts 3. I finished it like in a couple of days. It's actually pretty fun. I actually enjoyed them. From what I remember, there were 5. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. There was the one where you have to catch the eggs. There was one where you had to cook the sandwiches or hot dogs. There was one where you had to, with Mickey, kind of beat up these guys who were coming near you. There was the fishing one, and there was one more. Yeah, the giant one. I think the giant one was like the easiest one. Like, you can't really die unless like you just kind of get bored. Like, I remember at one point, like, I just had to die myself because I just kept going. There's really no need to keep playing. That one was like really the easiest. But I think the most challenging was probably the egg one for me. And the most fun for me was the one where you and Mickey had to like use the hammers and hit the guys who were coming to you. Because at one point it gets so fast and you just got to be like in trance and like beating those bad guys. That was a really fun one. And if these are the types of mini games we're gonna get in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm really excited. The aesthetic is an awesome idea. It's cool, like the taking from like the old school Disney style, and it's something that I could really see me actually playing for fun in Kingdom Hearts 3, where I'm just kind of maybe want to take a break from the normal gameplay and just play mini games for a while. I could actually see myself doing it. And I think I mentioned this before, which I know they're never gonna do. I feel like they could make like good money if they actually sold the physical versions of the game. They probably wouldn't, because it's in Kingdom Hearts and Key. They wouldn't really feel the need to, but because I remember having those type of games, like the Game & Watch type games, but like for like Shadow the Hedgehog, I think I had one. I think I had another Sonic one that I picked up from a garage sale or something. But if they sold us physically, I'd 100% at least buy one of them. It just seemed really fun. But yeah, if they have those type of mini games in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm assuming they're going to be adding more. I don't think it's only going to be those 5. Classic Kingdom, I feel like could be a really cool thing in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I think it's going to be, you know, like a pretty substantial part of it. I feel like it's not going to be something that's going to be like some shitty thing on the side. They're going to maybe add more as you go into the game. They might have given more information at this point. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the news recently because I've been really busy, but from what we see so far and from what we've seen in the past from the mini games they've added, I have full faith in terms of the mini games for them. And you know, I kind of argue that Gummy Ships is kind of a mini game in itself in Kingdom Hearts. In Kingdom Hearts 2, you know, you have the sections when you have to unlock the worlds and you can play them again in harder levels. So you know what, I feel like Gummy Ships are to be considered as mini games too. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, there was a news story which Nomura mentioned that he hired a game developer, a game company, someone who works on games that are focused on ships. So the fact that he's doing that makes me, you know, have a lot of faith in Kingdom Hearts 3 that the Gummy Ship minigame segment itself is going to be really robust and really fun too. So in terms of minigames, I feel like I have full faith in Kingdom Hearts 3. I feel like I'm going to have fun with all of them. And from the list I gave, like I mentioned, I enjoyed every single minigame except for the probably Kingdom Hearts 2's Winnie the Pooh ones. It's not that I hated them, it's just I enjoyed them, but they're probably the weakest ones where I didn't really feel like I had the need to come back, whereas the other ones I thoroughly enjoyed all of them. So in Kingdom Hearts 3, if they do Classic Kingdom, if they do the Gummy Ship, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more surprises. I wouldn't be surprised if they did have something like the Kingdom Carts idea I had from Birth by Sleep or something else in it. I feel like they will have something like that. I like if they had maybe like some kind of Disneyland world, that'd be pretty awesome too, since they are adding the attraction flow idea and all that. Maybe have a world where all that is funneled into mini games. I feel like that could be a really cool idea with some kind of carnival mini games, ride mini games, and you know what else like that. But yeah, I feel like that's a cool idea, and I think mini games is going to be a fun part of Kingdom Hearts 3. I know a lot of people are kind of like down on Kingdom Hearts 3 from what they're saying. not most people, but I've seen like some people who are kind of worried about it. I honestly am not worried. I'm gonna accept whatever they give, and the mini game just seems like a really good part of it. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about the mini games. Not too much to say other than that. Mini games that we've had and the mini games that I want to see in Kingdom Hearts 3, Classic Kingdom, I feel like it's just perfect. And other than that, what they had, I can see them reiterating. And if there's any new mini games I'd want, I don't think there's any new ones that I want, because like usually minigames is like whatever they feel like putting, and I feel like the Kingdom, if we didn't have anything like Kingdom cards or crossboard, that's what I would suggest, like some board game type thing or some racing thing. But since they've added it, as long as they have something like that along with Classic Kingdom, or even if they don't add that and just make Classic Kingdom like very large in terms of library, I feel like we'll be fine. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about in terms of reflecting report, and let's go to Dream Dive. Welcome to Dream Dive. This is my segment of Shotlocked where I talk about new aspects that I want in the future of Kingdom Hearts. Now, I had a very hard time thinking of an idea for Dream Dive this week, like I said in my housekeeping section of Shotlocked at the start, where I have to record this really fast and have it turned over in 2 days, because I'm recording 2 days before I have to upload this. And pretty much I have one line written for Dream Dive, and that is controlling party members. I was desperate, asked my brother for a topic, and this is what he gave me. So controlling party members, I thought that was actually a really interesting thing that we can delve into. And again, if this is the first time you've been in Dream Dive, this pretty much I give an idea of something new I want in Kingdom Hearts, and then through your guys' participation in the comments, you guys can also build on top of it, and I'm just going to be giving like a vague idea and passing it off. So controlling party members, I think is a really cool idea. Obviously, it would be a lot more strenuous on the developers to be able to do that, because when I say controlling party members, I'm imagining something like the Lego video games where you press triangle or something and you just go to the next character and you can use them. So if you had Sora, Donald, Goofy, you press a button, then you're controlling Goofy, you press a button, then you're controlling Donald. I feel like that adds an entire layer of strategy, which would be pretty amazing, and honestly I'm really open to. Now that I think about it, my other favorite RPG is the E series, and one of the mechanics that they usually, if not always, have is that you could switch between your party members, because each party member has a different advantage. Like you have a striker party member, which is your main character, you have one that's more of a brawler, and you have another one which is more of a piercer with arrows or spears or something. And while I don't want Kingdom Hearts to go down that path necessarily, where they have advantageous things which work better on Heartless, which they can add, I think it would just be cool for the fact of playing as Goofy or playing as Donald. But the only reason I feel like it's not necessarily going to happen, it'd be way too big for it to happen, is because of the game Kingdom Hearts is. Kingdom Hearts is a game where you get 2, and now with Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe 3 or 4 new party members each world. And if you assume there's like, say, 7 worlds, and you have 3 for each, that's a lot of movesets you're going to make, and a lot of complete playability for each character if you're able to switch to them, which is why I don't think it's going to happen. But this is Dream Dive. This is just something that it's a hypothetical, which I would really want to happen. So I just feel like it's a cool concept if you think about it, because like say at some point of the game it's Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Imagine just being able to switch with any of them. I'd just stick with Riku, if I'm being honest. He's my favorite character. I'm playing with him with a freaking Braveheart. It'd be amazing. And in terms of mechanics, I feel like, you know what, if they did do it like the E series, I can see it being like that. Because like in the E series, if you haven't played it, like I said, there's a brawler, there's a striker, and there's like a piercer. And if you come to an enemy, say like with the striker, and you're too weak against it, you turn to the brawler, and then you'd be able to fight it easier. And if they wanted to do that with Kingdom Hearts, I can see that. Like for example, say Sora is fighting an enemy, and the enemy is kind of shielded and he's more like heavy, and Sora's just like not doing that much damage. You can maybe switch to Goofy. Maybe Goofy's the stronger one, or at least because he is the more defensive character, maybe he'd be better at it. And then if you have a character that's in the air and you're trying to use Sora and you're just not doing that much damage, switch to Donald, use more magic on it, and that would do more damage. So I can see something like that, if I'm being honest. That isn't really a bad idea if you play with the kind of advantage rock paper scissors type element to it, and I can really see that happening. But again, I don't think that will, because since Kingdom Hearts 3 isn't just going to have 3 members, including yourself, I think we've already seen like you can have more than 2 party members along with you now. So the advantage thing would be kind of a thing that would be too hard to do, and it just wouldn't be feasible to be able to play with all of them. But if they had it, it would just remind me of like 358/2, where you got to play as everyone in the online mode. I just think that would be really cool, and it'd be a fun feature to add. But when it comes to the actual gameplay, like they obviously all have to have kind of separate movesets that kind of match each of them. Sora would have how his is. I feel like Riku his is kind of defined too, as you see in Kingdom Hearts 2. But the more I think about it, it can happen if you think about it, because they already do fight in certain ways, and if you're just able to control it, you could see it being possible, because Riku was playable in Kingdom Hearts 2. As long as they have their own moveset, it'd be cool if they each had their own maybe specialties in magic. Let me say Sora's specialty is like some subset of magic. Say he's good at fire magic or something like that, and that's just the ones he does the most damage in. Or maybe like he's like neutral in all of them, but then you can upgrade certain strengths with Sora, and then with Riku you could do another one. Maybe there's dark magic that he can do that Sora can't do, and Donald's probably better in all of them, and Goofy sucks in all of them, or something like that. I feel like as long as you vary it, it'd be cool. But then it'd be hard with all the Disney characters. But controlling party members, I feel like, is a really cool idea and something that you can really delve further into. And there's really not much more to say than that, if I'm being honest. It's a really short dream dive, I know, but I think it's just like a really awesome idea, or like potential from the game that you can kind of think of, and I feel like it could be possible one day in the future, and maybe as a spin-off game, like I mentioned in one of my other episodes, where you could have a spin-off where it's like a two-player game. Then you could kind of see it explore this more. But controlling party members, I feel like at one point will maybe happen. I feel like that's the smart thing, because you hear it online all the time where like people are asking, oh, are we going to be able to play as someone else in Kingdom Hearts? And I think Nomura already confirmed you are going to be able to play as someone else, but he didn't confirm who. I'm betting on Riku, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's also like maybe Kairi, or like maybe even Lee or someone like that. But I feel like in one day we may get this Wish as a hardware kind of supports this much, complexity. I feel like one day we may get to it, as we see with Kingdom Hearts 2, we could have more party members, so one day maybe we'll be able to control those party members. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Dream Dive Reflecting Report, Kingdom Countdown. Let me know if you enjoyed my Kingdom Countdown, if you did see that part, if you're just watching Dream Dive right now. I thought it was a really fun idea. I really enjoyed doing it, and it does, lengthen my episodes more too, because there is more to talk about in a Kingdom Countdown. Remember to let me know your opinion down in the comments below if you had anything to say about any of these topics. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Shotlocked. If you have any suggestions for further topics in any of the segments, let me know down below. I'll probably use it in some episode, and I'll credit you for it, of course. And yeah, that's my episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll see you later.